Hey guys, so I recently revealed a video of Abby. I call it the Abby analysis. And yes, she did get access to the metadata so that she can do a analysis of the ring camera of Karen Reed at 507 leaving her driveway and the tail light. And she uncovered exactly where they hid the edits. The Commonwealth hid edits of a mask that they was put on that tail light and showed exactly how they did it. Now, for anybody who is not aware of that, I will put a link in the description to the video. Any troll out there trying to negate who she is might want to be aware of the consequences of slander. I'm like, well, I'm just saying, I'm not sure that she's somebody who would deal with trolls like that. But if somebody wants to, like, slander a person who claims to be a professional, what their background is, and then just like dismiss them as of actually being real, may want to be aware of consequences of slander and libel. You know, if you want to make an accusation, you might want to double check your accusation, get some facts, because you know. Anyways, so this is a message I did with Gemini AI app, just for the sole purpose of showing that it's verified and how exactly she got the metadata, and the fact that you don't have to have the original video to get a copy of the metadata, and so that she got it through legal channels. And also, by the way, there might be some information that people may not have known about Proctor having the password to John O'Keefe. So the fact that there was editing done, that is problematic as it is. Now, the defense should have had the original video and a best evidence rule, but they were denied that. But here is what was said. Video Jesus, identified as Abby in some sources, is an individual who has provided analysis of video footage related to the Karen Reed case. While the search results confirm her involvement in analyzing the video data and even participating in discussions regarding motions, hearings on video data, they don't explicitly detail how she gained access to the raw video files with their associated metadata. So she did get access to the files with the metadata. But she states clearly that there's not the original file, and she shows you how, in fact, it was stripped and the proof of how it shows that it was edited. Anyways, some information from those searches offer clues and context. There was a mention of O'Keefe username password for security camera video. One source mentions that a person named Proctor, we all know who that is, admitted to having O'Keefe's username and password. Remember how they were trying to accuse Karen of having deleted ring cameras? Right? The media discusses that. Well, you know, it was actually Proctor who had the username and password for that security camera video via his cell phone. This suggests a potential avenue for accessing the raw video files, which would typically contain metadata. And she states in her video that she did get access to it. And of course she did it legally. Concerns about missing and manipulated footage. There are discussions about missing footage, inverted videos, and timestamp changes in various video clips relevant to the case. This implies that the defense or individuals assisting them would need to examine the original files and their metadata to identify such discrepancies. Court orders for video preservation. It's mentioned that there was a court order to preserve all video and turn it over, although they never gave them the original because they destroyed that. But finding exactly how they did the edits, this is where it's important to bring that to the FBI, because the timing of her analysis, which she put the video on her YouTube channel 2 weeks ago, I don't know exactly what date she did the analysis, but this is new evidence for the FBI and Department of Justice to prove that when they did their investigation, their investigation was obstructed because they obviously didn't tell them, oh yeah, we altered the videos and we hid stuff and masked it in the edits and the B-frames. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they didn't tell the FBI that, so they obstructed justice. And that's why it's important to present those facts in the petition that I now have. You have to give, in a petition to the Department of Justice, the issue, the rule, the analysis, and the conclusion. The issue is the thing that they did. The rule of law is the statutes that they violated, and then analyze how it's new evidence and how it obstructed their investigation, the statutes that specifically that they violated, and then conclude that this is why they have jurisdiction to come back in and observe the things, even not only of crimes they committed in this case, but the criminal acts that they did obstructing the investigation that the FBI has already done. That's all listed in the petition to the Department of Justice, and it's very important when you're doing a petition for the Department of Justice, you have to tell them how they have jurisdiction, and that means showing the statutes specifically that was violated that's federal. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to do. All right. Anyways, but back to this video analysis. Digital forensic experts. The case involves digital forensic experts analyzing data from vehicles and cell phones to pinpoint movements and gather information. While Video Jesus is presented as an analyst, it's possible she works in conjunction with, and she doesn't say how she got it, and she doesn't have to, right? She works in conjunction with or utilizes information provided by such experts who would have formal access to the digital evidence, including metadata. In legal cases involving digital evidence, the defense team typically obtains discovery materials, which includes raw video files and their metadata. Through the legal process, discovery requests, court orders. Experts then analyze these materials. It's highly probable that Video Jesus received the video files and their metadata through the Karen Reed defense team, who would have acquired them through official legal channels. Now, of course, it doesn't say, but there are links. You can just do this in your own little app in your phone, and it'll give you the sources and the links and so forth if you want to research this. However, I would be very, very aware and be very leery of these so-called people out there who want to sell merch and make money, and they're all about claiming they're for Karen Reed, but they're not sharing this new evidence. Not only they're not sharing it, they're actually attacking. They're attacking this person, and to me, I mark that person as a passive troll. Like, there's people who literally will jump on something and they get a lot of attention, they make a lot of money, and I'm not talking about anybody specific, I'm just saying this is how it works, right? And then you have passive trolls inside groups, and they just attack real actual evidence, and I mark that person because that's how they work. I also am marking any people who claim to be for Karen Reed, and all this time they have hidden the 71-count indictment that the FBI filed against 6 Massachusetts state troopers in January 2024, had a criminal trial against said trooper and won that trial, and then the rest of them took a plea deal. Why aren't they discussing those? They're acting like the mainstream media. That's what they're doing. And so I don't trust any of those sources. If I don't see them covering that 71-count indictment and talking about this particular evidence right here, I won't trust them. And I don't care who that offends. I'm just me doing what I do, and I look at things the way that I do, and you can look at things the way you do. But I'm just asking people to look at this evidence right here. And because it's important, I know that the team knew the stuff was altered, right? But being able to say exactly how it is a crime, what they did, suborning perjury was a crime, and I can't see the team, filing petitions to the Department of Justice, trying to get these judges removed and accusing them of crime. I mean, they're already fighting a battle uphill as it is, right? But we the people, we should be very concerned that these people are operating this manner. And to me, it's never, from day one, since I saw that there was corrupt stuff going on there, after I watched the trial, pretrial motions, and it was never about just Karen Reed and John O'Keefe in that particular case. It's a bigger picture for me. And I know that may not be the case in everybody, and I accept that's whatever your position is, but I plead for people to care about others who are also being harmed by this. And I know there's a lot of people out there, okay, that I am preaching to the choir to, but it should be the bigger picture. And I just feel as a Christian that, we should stand against injustice in general. So I'm sharing this for one reason, to bring awareness of this evidence, and also the petition, so, we can sign the petition. I know there's a lot of petitions out there, but not trying to be mean, but they're kind of vague. They don't list the statutes that was violated, especially when you're going to attack a judge. You have to give the canons and the ethics of the basically judicial rules. There's rules for attorneys, which also includes prosecutors, but judges have their own rules and canons, and if they specifically violate those, you have to list the rules and the laws that they violated, because otherwise they'll just defer it as, oh, well, that's an appealable issue. So that's what I'm trying to do, is to get something that will stick to the Department of Justice. There's new evidence now, because if you don't give them something that's new, they'll say, well, we've already done this work, we've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars, give us something new. That's what they want. And this is what we have. And we got to focus on these specific things and just unite together. So this is what I said. Can you have metadata without the original video? I think some people are getting confused about that. So just in case, yes, you can have metadata without the original video file. But it depends on the type of metadata and how it was stored or extracted. So here's a breakdown. Embedded metadata within the video file. Most video files like MP4, MOV, AVI have metadata embedded directly within them. This technical metadata includes information like the creation date and time, camera model, file size and format, video codec resolution, frame rate, GPS coordinates, if recorded by the camera, other descriptive information like title, author tags, if added by the creator or editing software. If you delete or lose the original video file, this embedded metadata goes with it. And she shows you how not only was it basically stripped when they edited it, but she also shows ghost files in the B frames. And she's very specific and very articulate. And I think she did a great job in presenting it, because a lot of the people don't have that kind of understanding of technical stuff like that. But I think she did a great job. So please go watch her video. And be aware that this could be happening to so many people. We need to care, guys, and stop just like pit-patting, and beware of trolls, especially the passive ones. Sometimes they're actually more effective in like just minimizing unity and effectiveness of unity of people. Because when you have the nasty trolls and people just like totally dismiss them, but when you have somebody who's a passive troll, right? And this is usually how somebody in law enforcement works. Like, they'll get inside a group and, they'll just like whittle away at doubt at a credible source. That's a passive troll. Just beware. Okay, just beware. Especially beware of people who's not talking about the 71 count indictment and this particular evidence, even though they claim to be about justice. Like, why aren't they discussing? Ask yourself that. Why is so-and-so not discussing that 71 count indictment? It involved bribery, extortion, falsifying records of state troopers, and there's troopers and cops that's not even, their names are redacted. Like while they're talking about there's no way that, conspiracy is happening, and it's completely hidden from the public. The media is not even talking about it. So why all these people out there claiming to be for justice, how come they're not talking about it? Ask yourself that. Ask them that. That's what I want to know. Ask them. I beg you to. Anyways, external metadata, sidecar files, or databases. Metadata can also exist separately from the video file. Sidecar files. Some software or workflows might create separate files, often with extensions like XMP or JSON, that contain metadata related to a video. These files are typically stored in the same factory as the video and are linked to it. If the original video is deleted, the sidecar file might still exist, but it would lose its direct association with the video it describes unless that association is managed elsewhere. Databases. Video management systems, content platforms like YouTube, or even personal media libraries often store video metadata in their own databases. When you upload a video to YouTube, for example, you add a title, description, tags. This information is stored in YouTube database, not necessarily within the video file itself, once it's processed and optimized for streaming. In this scenario, the metadata can exist independently of the original file you uploaded. You can still access the title description, even if the original video on your computer is gone. Forensic extraction. In a forensic context, experts might extract all available metadata from a video file and store it in a separate report or database. The extracted data would then exist independently, even if the original video file were later destroyed or corrupted. Embedded metadata is tied to the original video, and generally disappears if the file is lost. External metadata and sidecar files or databases can exist independently of the original video file, especially if it was manually added or extracted. So while you can't have the embedded metadata of a video file without the file itself, other forms of metadata can certainly exist separately. So her video has been seen by a lot of people who are in the professional field that she is. She's got a lot of commenters and people, a professional background supporting her analysis. She's been on channels like Livestream of Young Jerks. And I don't know why other people would not discuss her analysis. I don't know if maybe they're just, I don't know, whatever. But what I do know is if I don't hear people talking about the 71 count indictment and how that's relevant, I'm just very leery of them. But anyways, please go check out her video and share some love. Give her big thanks for her work. I don't know if she was paid to do that. I don't know. She may have just did it on her own. She doesn't reveal that. Okay, so the fact that she doesn't reveal how she got it, I don't know. To me, it's just, it may be that, you know, she's just keeping on the down low. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Okay. Anywho, please sign the petition and keep the fight. But most importantly, keep the faith, because we don't have to put up with injustice. We put up with what we, you know, we endure, allow whatever, they get by with basically what we put up with. And I know there's a lot of people like, you know, it's not going to make any change, not going to make any change. Well, I just rebuke that in the name of Jesus. No personal offense to you, but I saw that they prosecuted 6 state troopers. And they're facing sentencing this month. I know the media is hiding that from the public, but, yeah, change can come. First, I pray and I believe that we do our part. It's not our battle, it's God's. We just do what we're supposed to do and leave the winds of change to Him. But keep the faith. Keep the faith. If you just sit there and say, it's not going to make a change. Well, okay then. You just sit over there and do nothing. And meanwhile, the people that are doing something, when change does come, then, you know, you can, like, sit there and think to yourself, like, wow, you know, I could have signed that petition or whatever. I literally signed a petition on somebody who was, like, within hours of being executed for a crime he did not commit. Okay? And then just like in the last hour was saved. And those petitions saved his life. So petitions matter. Okay? Have faith. Okay? Fight for change and be the change. And I hope you have a wonderful 4th of July weekend.